welcome to Friday's bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to be attempting to solve today's Times Cryptic crossword for you. I'm a little bit late today because, as you've probably spotted, I'm not at home. I'm actually in the city of brotherly love. I'm in Philadelphia. I've had a somewhat peripatetic lifestyle for the last few weeks, and it's continuing. Let me try and show you. Look, that's the view out of my hotel window. So that's what's going on. Today's Times crossword is, as usual, harder than normal. That typically does happen on a Friday. I have got my dictionary. Yes, I've got a dictionary, so we should be able to talk through anything that we need to. Fingers crossed. Let's try and make sure that's not going to overlap with where I think I'm going to be on the screen. Anyway, nothing more to say, is there? Let's get cracking and see how we go. So it's this one. I'll talk through my thoughts as they occur to me. Right. The greatest ABBA hit. A children's favourite. I love clues like this because they instantly send my mind into what I'm sure is going to be the wrong direction, because I'm a great fan of ABBA, and so I'm sort of trotting through in my brain ABBA hits. I haven't come up with one that feels right yet. A children's favourite. Favourite in cryptic crosswords is very often pet, because it's such a good short synonym. But the greatest ABBA hit. No, I don't know. Let's try and get a starting letter. This could be a feature in Daily Express. As usual, I don't know actually. I mean, all these clues have a quick crossword definition in them. And our job often is to cut the clue in the correct position. So I really want to cut the words daily and express here. So to read it as this could be a feature in Daily Express. But that's not coming to me either. Let's try 8 down. That would be a useful one to get. Key language. A bit of a mouthful. Well, I've thought of a ludicrous answer to this. The answer I've thought of is escargot. And the way I got that was I was thinking of the word key and thinking about computer keys. Obviously musical keys could be relevant as well, but computer keys are making more of an appearance in Times crosswords over the last sort of couple of years, I've noticed. So alt, for example, or in this case perhaps esc. And argot is a word for language. Sort of slang language is argot, I think. So I think this might be escargot. A bit of a mouthful because it's a snail, obviously, and a snail is a slightly small mouthful. But I mean, the definition there is quite obtuse, isn't it? To define a snail and escargot as a bit of a mouthful just because it's a small bite. I suppose it's fair. Well, let's see if it's justified. 9 across. Odds you might be given about English workers being framed. Set up? If you're framed, you're set up. Yeah, actually set up is correct then, which I've got from the definition, but I now understand from the wordplay. It's quite useful, actually, odds here. If you see odds in cryptic crosswords, you have to be aware, or it's useful to be aware at least, that starting prices are sort of a bookmaking term, and they can be abbreviated to SP. I know it's mad, isn't it? Let's actually go and check this. So if we go here and we go SP, starting price. So SP, odds you might be given, the starting price, about English, that's this E here, E can be abbreviated, or English can be abbreviated to E, and then workers, the trade union. So that's another sort of common piece of crossword ease, which, I mean, actually I fully accept. When I think about it, if you've never done cryptic crosswords before, and this is, in fact, this is the second clue I've solved, you must just think this is bonkers, because it's so obtuse, you know, SP around E plus TU. And I'm sorry, but over time you will acquire the knack of some of these abbreviations. But this one is particularly difficult if you've never seen these crosswords before. Let's try 11 across. A couple of conservatives. Well, you won't be surprised to hear that a conservative can be abbreviated to C. So I'm wondering if this is ACC at the start. Okay, exploited. Can we think of a 4-letter word for exploited? Used. If you use someone, you exploit them, and then the defendant will be the accused, not Jodie Foster in this instance, but us. So there we go, we've got that one. Is this article then? Well, we would get an up. This could be, oh, I see, it is article, right. And I was so when I said I wanted to cut the clue between Daily and Express, that was incorrect, it turns out. Where we needed to cut the clue was after the word a, believe it or not. This could be a was defining article, because a is the indefinite article in speech, just as the is the definite article. So this could be a, defines article, and a feature in the Daily Express, which is a newspaper here in the UK, would be an article. So there we go. Now we've got an A in our ABBA clue. The greatest ABBA hit. A, children's favourite. Oh, that's brilliant. That is a brilliant clue. I love that. Okay. I think this will be a very popular clue. Even if you've never seen cryptic clues before, I think people will enjoy how this clue has so little to do with ABBA. I can't tell you. So here, to understand the clue correctly, we have to cut the clue after the word greatest. Now, the greatest. Can you think of any context where we can think of a short synonym for someone or something who could be described as the greatest that might begin with A? And Muhammad Ali was the self-proclaimed greatest boxer. And many people think the greatest, but many people would agree with Muhammad Ali. So that, I think, is Ali, the greatest. And then ABBA is hit. Now, if we hit the letters of the word ABBA, we might anagram them. And if we do that, we create Barbar. And Ali Barbar is a children's favourite story. Isn't that brilliant? That's very, very clever. I love that very much. So let's try 2 down. Striking, imposing maybe? Statement by a model. A model might say, I'm posing. I'm posing for a photo shoot or something. Never having been a model, I'm not sure exactly what they would say, but I could imagine they might say, I'm posing, and imposing means whatever it had to mean. Was it striking? Let's try 3 down. Cockney injured. Okay, well, let's stop there. I have actually got this, but if you see words like, well, the word Cockney in a cryptic clue, what's it trying to say? Well, in cryptic crossword land, Cockneys drop their H's. So they speak a bit rough, and you know, they might drop their H's. So what we're looking for here is probably, for a Cockney word for injured, we're looking for a 6-letter word that begins with H that means injured. Now, if you think of the word harmed, you can see that if we drop the H from the word harmed, we do get another English word, and it does mean ready to fight. If you're ready to fight, you are armed. So not too difficult once we know the sort of the tricks the constructor is employing. Let's try 10 across. One watching language in vehicle carrying a communist west. Oh goodness, there's a lot going on there. One watching language. I'm not sure. One watching language, I was sort of thinking about that cryptically and thinking about like a lip reader or something, but obviously that doesn't begin with M. Let's try 4 down. Who will receive unfinished speech on bishop's responsibility? Okay, so the way to get this is to know a little bit about the ecclesiastical world. And a bishop has a responsibility for a diocese, and sometimes diocese is shortened to a C, S-E-E. So let's see, let me show you that, because we've got the dictionary here, we may as well use it. So if we go, here we go. C, the office of bishop of a particular diocese, wrongly according to some, a cathedral city. Didn't know that. So we've got possibly, when it says on bishop's responsibility, well, this is a down clue. So if we were to end this clue with our bishop's responsibility, the word C, and then read the clue again, who will receive unfinished speech on bishop's responsibility? Well, suddenly it becomes quite easy, doesn't it? Well, not necessarily very easy if I can't type, but addressee is certainly somebody who would receive a letter. And unfinished speech, well, an address is a speech. If we don't finish the word address, we just get one S at the end. We add to that the word C to create addressee, which is the word we're looking for. Let's check that one again. One watching language. In vehicle, carrying a communist. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I haven't got that one. Let's try this one. Green something, maybe? Naive is green. 13. So, naive assembly that's full of hot air. Oh, greenhouse. Yeah, okay. A greenhouse is full of hot air, and an assembly is a house, as in a House of Parliament or something like that. So, greenhouse, I think, is the answer. Let's try 18 across. A second spasm, might one say. Well, here, this isn't too difficult if you've seen clues like this before. Might one say, what could that be indicating? And we see loads and loads of different examples of a phrase in a clue that indicates you have to be thinking about a homophone, how you hear the answer. So it might say, as you hear, or one caught, because you catch things when you hear them. So here what we're looking for is a word for a spasm that when we hear it sounds the same as a different spelling for something that means a second. Now, spasm is one of these words that has a very common short synonym in crosswords, which is tic, T-I-C. So let's go and have a check of that. You might describe someone as having a nervous tic. So there we go, a convulsive, especially nervous twitching. So tic, if we hear the word tic, T-I-C, but spell it differently, certainly tic, as in that spelling, would sound exactly the same to somebody, and that would mean a second, as in give me a tick, give me a second before we're going to do whatever we're going to do. Do 14 down in this instance. Treasurer's problem, overspend or something, concerning specific, it is overspend. A treasurer's problem is an overspend. If something is concerning something, it's over it, isn't it? In a sense, it's on the subject of this. And then specific can be SP. We've had two weird abbreviations for SP, starting price and now specific. And an objective is an end, as in a goal. So overspend is going to be correct. And we've sort of done the northwest corner of the puzzle. Let's see if we can get 20 down, although the checking letters don't look very propitious to me. Supporter, perhaps a leg. Providing free can of beer. Oh, about time. Providing free can of beer. I don't know what this is talking about. And about time, well, T is a very common abbreviation for time from Newton's equations, and V equals U plus AT, etc. S equals UT plus a half AT squared. Is that one of them? I don't know where that's come back to me from schooling a long time ago. Let's try 19 down. Grumble about watch. Well, I don't know what this is yet, but The fact it begins with C, and C is an abbreviation for circa, and circa means about. So either C or CA is what I'm wondering whether this begins with. So if we think of a 5 or 6 letter word for watch that will add to the C, and the whole thing will mean grumble. No. I'm trying desperately not to sneeze. Sneezing is not good during videos. Let's try 23 down. Goodwill expressed by woman visiting relations on the contrary. Oh, okay, well, let's deal with this because I don't know what the answer is, but I can tell you, I have got it actually. But when we see this phrase on the contrary, it's a very confusing one if you're new to cryptic crosswords. And what it means is do the opposite of what the clue is telling you to do. So if we read the bits of this clue that might be wordplay, so remember these clues also can be viewed as mathematical equations, obviously. So I'm going to talk to you about how this one is a mathematical equation. Goodwill expressed by. Well, expressed by is doing the duty of equals here. So we're looking for a 5-letter word that means goodwill, and it equals woman visiting relations. Well, normally, in a cryptic crossword sense, that would mean find a word or a name of a woman and put that inside visiting, a short synonym for a word that means relations. But because it then says on the contrary, in this clue what we're going to have to do is to put a word for relations inside a word or a name of a woman. So that's all complicated enough, but it gets even worse because here, relations, you have to know, is a euphemism for sex. So if you have relations with somebody, you have sex with them. And that means that you have to know short synonyms for that. And in this case, we're looking for the word it. Because if you do it, you would have relations. So here we need the word it inside a 3-letter name of a lady or a woman, to give a word that means goodwill, and you might have thought of amity, which has Amy around it, to give the answer. And there's a lot going on in that, but if you know the tricks, it's not too bad, I suppose. Let's try 23 across. Almost all university students, about 1,000, graduate or graduate. Is that alumnus? Almost all is, could be AL. That's almost all of the word all. University students. Alum. Let's just have a think about this. University could be U. Students, students NUS, goodness. Right, so it's another reference to a trade union type thing here. The National Union of Students is a trade union made up of students in the UK. So NUS here is doing the duty for students. So we've got AL, most of the word all, plus U for university, plus NUS, all going around the outside of M, which is a valid abbreviation for 1,000. You might have seen that in Roman numerals. And that gives the name of a graduate, or a word for a graduate, which is alumnus. Let's try 27. Battlefield, it's going to be the name, it's going to be EAP, is it? Tree stripped bare, yes, it's Cyprus. Makes me think of Cypress Point, a very famous golf club I've never played but would love to. So a tree, cypress, has been stripped bare, so it's had its bark removed, it has its skin removed, its first and last letters in this instance, and that gives us EAP, which of course is a famous battlefield. Let's go back to this one then. Grumble. So we need a word for watch here. What's that word? Probably begins with L or R. Grumble. Oh, that's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not getting it. Okay, let's try 25. Get involved, teen cried out. Okay. Well, this is words like out. We always have to be on the watch for anagrams. And the better you get at these puzzles, the more likely the more proficient your brain will be about cutting the clue into segments that could be anagrammable. So when I read this clue, I see teen cried, I know it's an anagram before I even read the word out, because that's just the way that my brain works. So teen cried is anagrammed to mean get involved. And is it intercede, maybe? Feels like it's intercede. If you intercede in something, you get involved in it. So now this is clutter? No. Grumble about. Oh, a hunter. A hunter is a type of watch, isn't it? So it's chunter, which is a sort of, I think that's quite a dialectic word in the UK. I'm going to look that up. But to chunter is to grumble. It doesn't say. Oh, well, it says it's also obscure. Or no, okay. So chunter in these weird other spellings is dialectic or obscure, but actually in its normal spelling apparently isn't. And a hunter. I've heard of a hunter watch. A watch whose face is protected with a metal case. There we go. I didn't know that was the thing that distinguished it, but that explains 19 down. Let's try this one. Snores. Briefly away in for this painter. Okay, well there is a painter called Ingres, isn't there? I don't know how you pronounce it, Ingres or something. An ingress is a way in, as in an entry, INGRESS. And if we treat that word briefly, so we shorten it very slightly, we can create Ingres, which is the name of a painter. So let's try. Oh, it won't let me click on it. Oh, that's a bit of a worrying sign. I hope that the video's recording. 28 across. Loser having grand time, it creates resentment. Loser having grand time, it creates resentment. Dudgeon or something? It is dudgeon. I don't know. I feel very lucky to have got that one. I'm not even sure why my brain took me in that direction, but it did. Now, a loser, I suppose, is a dud. If something's a dud, it's a loser, isn't it? Grand can be G. A time, an eon is a very long unit of time, but it is a unit of time. And dudgeon, you might have heard of a state of high dudgeon, meaning, really, really angry. So a word for resentment. So we're done there, and we've done we've done half the puzzle, I would say. But we haven't got very many good ways, good ingresses into the right side of the grid. Let's try 24 down. Fraud will be prosecuted, did you say? Okay, so there we go again. Did you say? So it's another homophone. Now, I'm helped here by having seen clues like this before. I mean, this is a brute if you haven't. But sued, P-S-E-U-D, that's how we'd say it, sued. And if you prosecute someone, you sue them. So sued is S-U-E-D, is prosecuted, did you say? If we spell it differently, but it would be heard the same, we can say it as spell it as P-S-E-U-D, to mean a fraud. As you might have heard of pseudo, something being a pseudo something, even a SUDOKU, but no, that's different. I jest. 24 across. Claim papers concealing government departments U-turn. So probably we're looking for a 7-letter word for claim, I would think. Papers could be press, as in the media. Concealing government departments, oh goodness, so foreign office? Profess, there we go. So we've built that one up gradually by sort of thinking of short synonyms for words in the clues, which is a good tip when you get into cryptic crosswords, to try and think of all the short synonyms you might be able to come up with and then sort of shuffle them around in your brain. So here we've got papers, press, concealing, so surrounding, covering, Foreign Office, which is a government department, doing a U-turn, so reversed. And to profess, obviously, is to claim. Now look at these. Look at the checking letters we earn from getting profess. Absolutely useless. Let's try this one. Picture of cricket, perhaps. Charlie, ignored. Okay, well, a cricket is an insect. And if we ignore Charlie, which is the international radio code word for a C from insect, we would get inset, and that is a photograph or a picture. And again, we're not getting brilliant checking letters, but I suppose we could have a look at 17 down. Woman related to Charles I. Wow. Wow, that's a clever clue. Woman. I don't know. I don't quite know how to read that. No, I haven't got that at all. I think it's going to be the name of a woman. But Caroline? Why would it be Caroline? Well, I really like the idea of it being Caroline now, but I don't understand why. Oh, no, it is. Okay, I do understand why now. Right. So I've dredged up from my memory that Caroline is an adjective, I think, that means related to King Charles I. And I don't know why I think that, but I do. It is ringing the vaguest of bells. So I think Caroline obviously is a girl's name. So I think woman in the clue is the definition. But I think, I suppose this is a double definition, because I think Caroline might also be, let's hope I'm right, Caroline, yeah, of or belonging or characteristic of the British kings Charles I. I mean, that's vicious. From Carolus. Carolus, is that a word? No, it doesn't seem to be. Carolus, which apparently is the Latin word for Charles. I mean, that's brutal. 21 down. Eritrea's onslaught. I think, I was going to say I thought this would be an anagram of Eritrea, but it's obviously not, because we've got dudgeon here. Providing cover, onslaught. Providing cover for rebellion. Onslaught. Oh, okay, I have got this. There's one of these, and every time it's crossword, I say this most weeks. And when you're starting to solve these puzzles, these are the clues that you will inevitably look for. That's what everyone looks for when they know they exist. And it is a hidden clue. And you can actually find the answer in a hidden clue spelt out in the clue. You might be able to hear sirens in the background. I hope they're nothing to do with me. So if you look inside the words Eritrea's onslaught, you will see spelt out treason. And so the clue is saying that the string of letters Eritrea's onslaught provides the answer. That's what providing is doing in the clue. It provides cover for the word treason, which is a word which means rebellion. So, well, the letters we're getting in this are not brilliant, are they? Let's go for 15 across. Went back being lost. Oh, it's a double definition. So, went back being lost. I haven't got a clue. Let's try 16 down. Aggrieved parties getting hold of a scrounger. I quite want that to be an anagram of the word parties. If the letters of parties are treated in an aggrieved way, they might be anagrammed, I suppose. And that gets hold of an A. That would give us 8 letters. Now, can we create a scrounger? from those 8 letters? Parasite. Yes, I can. A parasite is definitely a scrounger. So, well, we get the inevitable R at the end of this one. Telecaster. Supporter. Providing free can of beer. About time. Supporter. Oh, why can't I see that? Free can of beer. Oh, it can't be an anagram of can of beer, can it? About tea. Maybe it could. Yeah, maybe it could. Free could be an anagram indicator. If you treat a string of letters in a free way, you would, not in a sense of an American road, but if you treat them freely, they might be anagrammed. So perhaps an anagram of can of beer around tea. To mean a supporter, benefactor is the answer. There we go. Good clue, actually. Very good clue. Oh, and then we've got P here. Went back. Being lost. I don't know. Oh, have I looked at that one? I've not looked at this one. It begins with E. Controversial test. One welcomed by Apple consumer. Controversial test. Ooh. I want this to involve eater somehow. One welcomed by Apple consumer. It could be emotive, could it? It's something emotive. I'm just wondering about an MOT being a type of test. Oh, it is. It's emotive. That's brilliant. That's brilliant because Apple consumer nowadays has such a redolence with modern technology, especially actually given the capital A there in the clue. But we have to think about this in a very different way, because are there any historical people who've been famous for eating apples? Perhaps that they shouldn't have done. And the answer, I think, to that conundrum is Eve, as in Adam and Eve. Now, so if the Apple consumer was Eve, and we put MOT, which is a motoring test here in the UK, and one I in the middle, we get MOTI in Eve, emotive, and something that is emotive may well be controversial. Look at these checking letters again. Naughty puzzle. Really very tricky. I haven't looked at this one. Novelist's irritation, loudly expressed. Okay, so again, loudly expressed. It's probably... We need to think of a word for irritation that when we say it, it sounds like a novelist. The thing is, novelist is a terrifying word, obviously, because basically that means we're looking for a 5-letter writer that goes in here. I mean, it'll have to be somebody famous. Eliot, no. Irritation, oh, I don't know. We're going to need to get, I think, one of these checking answers. Mark time. Oh. Don't know. That's just a straightforward double definition. It can't be anything else. So we need a word that means mark and a word that means time. Let's try this one. Book's heroine, enthralling one in high position. Well, okay, this one I have got. And this is has a literary connotation. So a book's heroine, I think here we're looking for Jane Eyre. And if Jane Eyre secures or enthralls I for one, we get eerie, which is an eagle's nest. And that's certainly a high position, an eerie. Although look again at these checking letters. No, 6 down is a very crucial answer, I think. I think if we don't get this, we're really going to be floundering. Seated thus on horse, I stared around astride. Well, it's an anagram, yeah. So if you're astride a horse, that's fine. And I stared around, if we anagram I stared, we get astride. So at least we got that. So what's this? Jeep? No. Went back. being lost. Went back. Being lost, question mark. I've got this. That's outrageous. Okay, so I thought this was going to be a double definition. I thought it was going to be a word that meant went back and meant being lost. I now don't think that. I think we need to think of a word for went and return it. It needs to go backwards. But here we need to use as a if you go, yeah, it's a euphemism for going to the loo. So I think the answer there might be peed. So if you went, you peed, turn that backwards, you get deep. And being lost, is that defined by deep? I think it is. You go deep, or if you're deep in the roots of something, you might be lost in it. I think it's right, but deep as a synonym for being lost. It feels slightly stretched to me, but I'm not going to change it. So why don't we actually look? Deep. Encumbered with mud in a deep manner. It's not penetrating, deeply recessed, very distant. I suppose if you're very distant, might you be lost? I don't know, maybe. I'm sure it just feels a little bit stressed to me. I'm pretty sure it's right, because I like the went back part of it. Now what's this then? Medicator or something. One watching language in vehicle, carrying a communist west. A motor is a. What I'm trying to do is to turn a red in this clue. Moderator, one watching language. It is that, right? So this is tricky. So the vehicle is the motor, M-O-T-O-R, and that carries a, which is this a here, and then a word for a communist. Goes west. Now, communist in cryptic crosswords is often a red. So red is going west, so it's reversed in an across clue to give DER, and that gives moderator. It's very difficult. But we're left with we've got the two more. Mark time. Oh. Still don't know what this is. Oh, and this is the novelist. Oh, goodness. Twain? No. Irritation. Rage. This is tricky. Irritation loudly expressed. So, which novelist is this then? Are we going to have to do a dictionary, a sort of letter trawl? Irritation. Anger. I haven't got this at all. And that, this is a difficult. It's one of these crossings. If you think of the right word, you fill in these two clues for the cost of no time, basically. But if you don't, it has the feeling of something you could be sitting over for half an hour, just never seeing. Mark. A mark can be like a punctuation mark as well. Mark time. I suppose mark time also it does mean something as a phrase. If you mark time, you sort of wait for something, don't you? But this is a cryptic crossword, so it shouldn't mean mark time like that. No, I fear this is the one we're going to have to get. And I can't think it's anything other than the name of it's the name of a novelist. But there it gets tricky. Let me think. A novelist. Oh, come on, Simon. How many novelists can there be? The answer to that is a lot. Wow. The thing is, irritation as well. There are so many words for irritation. Irritation. You're in a state of... Oh dear. Oh no. This could be a total disaster. How long is the video so far? It's 40 minutes or so. So hopefully my laptop won't give up the ghost yet. Novelist. It's unlikely to begin with a vowel, isn't it? I think... Do I have a feeling for... I haven't actually managed to come up with a novelist that I like blank blank A blank E for yet. Pique. There you go. A fit of pique. God dear. So that's Mervyn Peake, who... I might be wrong. I want to say he wrote Gormenghast or something like that, which could be total and utter nonsense. But Pique, P-I-Q-U-E, is irritation, and it sounds the same as this, which I think is Mervyn Peake, who I think is a novelist. So what is this then? Mark time. Parrot? No. I thought this would just be a write-in. It should be. I'm just discombobulated now. Let me just think. Mark time. What is it? There's no way any of these checking letters are wrong. So it is. I think it is just as simple as writing in the answer here. And I don't think this can be an H, so I think it is either an A or an E, I want to say. Mark time. Period, I suppose. Yeah, okay, so I even had the right thought in noting that mark could be a punctuation mark. A period obviously is a full stop. So that is a punctuation mark, and a time... a period of time. So I think this is the answer. So we've sort of done it in the end. Not a very auspicious finish, but there we go. It's correct. So from Philadelphia, we have managed to solve the puzzle. Now, sometimes I do race. I think I've got time today. Should we have a race on the quick cryptic? Although I'm dreadful at typing on this small keyboard. But I'll do my best. Let's see if we can actually redeem ourselves after the period kerfuffle. Here we go. Grabbing glimpse of decisive victory, punch, cheat. What on earth? That's a lot going on. Tramp primarily has overpowering personal with. Hobo is B-O and H-O. Grabbing glimpse, victory, punch, cheat, hoodwink. I think it is hoodwink. I can see it's got win in the middle of it for victory. Unconfined out. Tapir chasing fine animal. That's okapi, is it? Good grief. This isn't that easy. Excellent lingerie, bra. Very alluring brava. Bravo. Oh. I want that to be bravo, actually. I'm not sure about that. Have whittled fragments. That's annoying. I don't know. Fixed trouble. In elevated study. That is nailed. Den upside down around ale. Tip with change. Having no time at all for port. Oh, goodness, I don't know. Unlimited information relating to the listener. No, don't know. Song from dreadful egoists, maybe. That's an anagram, probably, but I don't know it. Okay, let's go here. Digital outlier that's manually located. Middle finger or something? I don't know. No, I don't know what that is. Hero sussed most of you out. Okay, that's an anagram, and it is Odysseus, I think. Well, this is really not an easy crossword, actually. Book van going back around Northern Ireland. This I want to put head backwards around NI. Or it's Daniel, isn't it, from the Bible? It's the biblical book. So what's this? Something the something. That's annoying. Little finger? I think that might be little finger. Let's try 14 down. Threadbare Italian city embraces saint. Italian, oh, I don't know. Oh, it's not letting me click on it. What would assess final appeal of criminal computer user? Supreme Court, I would think. So let's go back. Oh, Naples then. Threadbare. Or Napoli? Naples. Naples! That's a horrible word! Old dons deserve being in media periodically. Old dons, it must be emerita, I think. I think it's that. I'm not sure. Sash. That does look like sash. So have whittled fragments. That's annoying. Something the something. Let's try 16 down. Entertaining both sides in election. Face refusal. Denial. Dial around that. So this is a harder puzzle than normal. My oracle, unfortunately, mine. This is a word for a mine, and I'm not solving it. That's very annoying. Hard-nosed type that might charge you is a rhino, I suppose. There's unwrapped. Present is here, which is a strange framing. Snatch letters, reportedly. Don't quite see that one. Have I looked at this one? I did look at it, didn't get it. Got temperature wearing hairpiece. Got twigged. If you're wigged, you're wearing a hairpiece, I suppose. Sticking together, coherent. Recent changes about erected house. I think that is coherent. So what's this? Ipswich? It is, I suppose it is a port. What's that then? Otic? Yeah, relating to the listener, relating to the ear. Goodness me. Song. As long as he needs me. As time goes by. What on earth is this then? Claymore, is it? Yeah, that's a claymore. Goodness me, this is harder than usual. Snatch. Letters. Introduction of soft metal with nickel backing. Leading. Letters reportedly. Letters are C's. Okay. So have whittled fragments. Is this an anagram then? I think it is. That's annoying. Something the devil or something? What the devil? What the devil? I'm going to go for that. That's absolutely vicious. And it's correct. Okay, and actually that's interesting because even with my sort of quasi-explaining and my typing on this, you can see I've come 14th on that, which is a reasonable time. But it's or 15th now. So if we just have a look at the top 100, hopefully it will show it. So Jason James, 3 minutes 32, that's really good. But even Moan, who's averaging something like 3.5 minutes at the moment for the Times crossword, not the Times quick crossword, the Times crossword, has taken 4 minutes 14. So this is definitely harder than usual. And in fact, yeah, let's just go down a bit, see if there's any names of anybody I recognise. Yes, Tom Stubbs is a very good solver. 1031 on the quick cryptic. So it's vicious. That was vicious. It felt vicious and it was vicious. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this strange edition from Philadelphia. I hope the sound is okay. If you do like the videos, please tick them or subscribe or leave a kind comment. It all helps the algorithm. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.